to direct that a wiretapping occur. Probably broader than any FISA application that would be brought by the DOJ. How high up does this go? It's a question to ask. And again, this is not pie in the sky. This is serious. The question becomes, as we said, was there a reason for the wiretap? And if there wasn't, and if this was purely political, how high up does this go? And if it turns out to be purely political, President Obama and his legacy might as well go right down the tubes. Time for another break. When we come back, we'll discuss another part of the Obama legacy going down the tubes and how the evolution of the repeal and replacement of Obamacare has really not gotten off to the right start that conservatives want. Gene Berardelli behind enemy lines. We'll be back right after these brief words.
The show will be right back. But first, a word from Al Sharpton.
Good evening, Rev. Thanks Good evening, to Rev. You, Ed. Is this Groundhog Day 2? We are watching that was Attorney General Eric Holder, ABDs, about some Republicans at home are already beating the drums of war. Today, the Pentagon refuted that claim. And he said the American people do not want him to, quote, dwindling, they do not want him dwindling his thumbs. You can get a gig as a contortionist. Intravenous fluids and pills coated with gelatin. We don't leave our women or men in uniform behind. It's a monument to the hubris of Dick Cheney, Representative Raul Labrador. Years of abuse. I personally apologize to Mr. Peebles. Just ask to soon-to-be former Congressman. Democrats are outright jitty. CIA's counterterrorism center. Veteran Affairs Secretary Shinseki. Why do I always mess up his name? Shinseki. I love my critics. I have fun with that.
Politics Nation with the Reverend Al Sharpton starts right now. Good evening, Rev.
Good evening, Dr. Dyson.
But wait, there's more.
And we will much about that be committed. So there's no real conflict. Michael Druniak, including Lincoln himself, Daniel Day-Lewis. Behind Monica Lewinsky, the one and only Trey Songz is here. But Allison Lundergan Grimes, Gina De Jesus. When Gina De Jesus, Tea Party challenger Matt Bivens. People don't want to have their Social Security overall. The Republican savior, Mark Rubio's big night. In evolution and Galileo, this whole thing of Galileo, America's changed. Unless IT and Skillets, President Putin doing something similar back in, it won't change this fundamental fact about the GOP. Just how absurd these attacks is. Nearly 6 months after the dangerous traffic jam, the Thai military says, my friend for many years, Ilyana Van Zandt. There's nothing there.
And they gave this guy a TV show? Let's get back to our show.
Gene Berardelli, back behind enemy lines. I don't care what you say. I will play that clip of Al Sharpton until it dies down deep in the ground. I love that clip so much. It's part of the show. It's been part of the show for a long time. We always give equal time to Reverend Al. I love it. Folks, let's talk about the second part of the Obama legacy going down the drain, and that is the repeal and replacement of Obamacare. The centerpiece of legislation that President Obama saddled our country with, thanks to a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate, and with no support of the Republican Party or conservatives at all. But it's not like the Republicans in Congress are helping themselves out right now. We had our own Amanda Kohut, our resident rhino, go through the Ways and Means Committee bill that would be repealing and replacing Obamacare with, I guess we're going to call it Obamacare Light, because what we're seeing in it is not so far a great start. Obviously, people wanted to see a repeal and replacement of the bill in total and replace with something different. Being able to buy insurance across state lines, getting rid of this disastrous Obamacare registry that insurance companies are opting out of, and all the things that we wanted to see get rid of. The employer mandate being repealed or redefined. There's lots of things that we found here that we did not like. Like I said, our own resident rhino, Amanda Kohut, who defends establishment Republicans to the hilt, reviewed the Ways and Means bill, and what she found she did not like, particularly, as we said, no repeal of the employer mandate, no option for defined contributions in lieu of a defined benefit plan, no creation of a SIF-style program for employers who cannot get coverage from an insurance carrier. That means that if an employer, like a security company, for example, that I've had experience with, and that Amanda has had experience with, if there is coverage for employees from other means, you still have to provide coverage no matter what. And if those companies don't provide it to you because you don't qualify in their little, pigeonhole of a plan, then your company's screwed. No plan to reduce the administrative burden on businesses. Obviously, Amanda took it from a business perspective. This is not a business-friendly start to Obamacare repeal. It's just not there. It's a rocky start, folks. I don't know really what to make of it. I'm still trying to go through it myself. It's just not appealing and palatable to many conservatives, really. It seems like many conservatives from Heritage and Congressman Jim Jordan and Rand Paul, they're all out there saying that the draft legislation to replace the Affordable Care Act, it just doesn't work. You know what? We'll see if they have the votes or not, but I think there's room to negotiate here. President Trump said that this draft legislation is just that, a draft. Mike Lee is saying this is not the Obamacare repeal we've been waiting for. It's a missed opportunity. It's going in the wrong direction. Rand Paul is denouncing the bill offered by the Republican leadership. Mark Meadows and other members of the House Freedom Caucus are saying that they will provide an alternative bill to simply repeal the Affordable Care Act. Advocacy groups on the conservative side are urging Congress to reject the bill. Heritage Action, Mike Needham, who I get tons of emails from, and maybe Sanebox can help me out with that. Thank you, Sanebox, for coming on to the show and supporting us. He's calling for a full repeal and then a conversation about how to move forward onto a replacement. In many ways, he's saying that the Republican proposal released accepts the flaws of Obamacare and expands upon them. Mike Pence believes this is an opportunity for sides to come together for repealing and replacing Obamacare. I gotta be honest with you, folks. I'm not encouraged. I think that, like Mike Lee said, this is a missed opportunity here. There's still a penalty, a surcharge, they're calling it now, by 2019 if you're not covered. There's still this mandatory provision of coverage in the proposed legislation. I'm not encouraged by that at all. If it's supposed to be a real marketplace, then let the market and the consumers being a part of that market dictate what's supposed to happen here. I'm not a big fan of this at all. I hope we'll have more to talk about in the coming days and in the coming weeks on this show as new proposals are brought out. I'm very interested to see what Senator Paul is going to come up with and see if it can be integrated into this proposed draft legislation. We'll just have to wait and see. But listen, I don't want to end downing legacies and talking about legislation that's just in the draft stage at this point and talk about the possible fight to come and all this gloom and doom over wiretapping and all that. I want to focus on the positive. We haven't had a chance on the show to applaud President Trump on his stirring speech before a joint session of Congress. His speech, probably his best political speech ever, was hopeful. It was optimistic. It clearly set forth the goals and standards his administration will strive to meet in the coming term, especially in the coming year, and Obamacare and the principles that we've talked about, purchasing insurance across state lines, making sure that people are covered and that it's affordable to everyone, not having government intrude upon people's healthcare decision making, things of that nature. We hope to see that from Congress going forward. But I gotta say, the most stirring moment, and this has been talked about to death, and I'm not going to talk about it any further than anybody else has, but the moment when he had the service member's widow stand and be recognized, and the remarks that he made, the stirring remarks that he made, what a moment that was. An absolute defining moment in the first 100 days for President Trump. And as it was a defining moment for the Democrats in the audience who refused to get up and applaud that second time. We're talking about Nancy Pelosi. We're talking about Debbie Wasserman-Schultz. We're talking about Keith Ellison. Refusing to stand up the second time for that 2-minute standing ovation that made every news story. Van Jones from CNN was saying it was the most presidential moment of the Trump administration. And I agree with Van Jones. I can't believe I just said that on air. I agree with Van Jones. Man, oh man, what is the world coming to? But it goes to show you how big of a moment that was. That entire speech was an absolute home run. It set the tone for the Trump administration going forward. It set the tone for what he expected of Congress to do. It set the tone for the conciliatory message that people have been asking for forever from the Trump administration, to bring people together. He challenged the Democrats to join him in what he's been doing and what he wants to do and what he wants to accomplish. And you know what? That's a hopeful message that should be celebrated and should be brought to all corners of the country. And hopefully we'll do it by this show. We are way past halftime here, folks. Thanks for tuning in to www.BehindEnemyLinesRadio.us. Behind Enemy Lines Radio, I'm Gene. My co-host Russ isn't joining us this week. He'll be back very soon. But I already mentioned it. You should definitely go to www.BehindEnemyLinesRadio.us. Check us out on the Facebooks and the Twitters at BEL_radio. And if you missed any part of the show that we normally do live on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker, you can check us out at any one of our rebroadcast outlets, including WJHC 107.5 FM in Jasper, Florida, WDDQ 92.1 FM in Adel, Georgia, WLBB 1330 AM in Carrollton, Georgia, all part of the Red Nation Rising Radio Network. What a great association of shows and conservative programming to listen to. Check it out, folks. It's absolutely amazing, online and on those 3 stations. You can also check us out at KLRN Radio, High Plains Talk Radio, and Sackheads Media, ICRN, the Internet's Conservative Radio Network, and, of course, Lanterns Radio at lanterns.buzz. You can also check us out anytime as a podcast. We're available on a whole host of outlets, including iTunes, Spreaker, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podbay, Player FM. You can discover us on Google Play Music, find us at SoundCloud, and always tune in on the mighty, mighty iHeartRadio Network. Listen under the podcast, under politics. Check us out. We're there. I know I can't believe it either, but we are indeed there. Folks, time for some final thought action. And it's going to be a little bit of a lengthy final thought. And it has to do with our good friend of the show, Sean King. And we're going to bring it around to different news stories here, folks. But first, we haven't done Buffoon of the Year. Buffoon of the Year, we're only in March. We haven't done Buffoon of the Week, I should say. The precursor to Buffoon of the Year, the weekly, episodic shaming of someone in the political spotlight that has done something so stupid that we have to call it out in an attempt to kind of bring balance to the world. And this week it's got to be Sean King. Sean King, who's been dubbed